Congratulations on your second speech. I'm going to try to be as tactful as possible. Because Ben, the other Ben, is he still here? No. Okay, there he is. He knows how tactful I could be sometimes, or not tactful.
Not tactful.
Okay. So, I still remember about 5 or 6 years ago, Ben, when I did my first speech at Taipei Metro Toastmasters. And I believe it was my second speech. And I remember my speech was about nothing. What I spoke about, because I didn't have time to prepare, what I spoke about the entire 7 minutes was my whole process of thinking about what I wanted to write for a speech. And basically that was my speech. It was just terrible. And second, like, my first, this is the second worst speech I've ever given, behind the moth joke, of course. So I still remember that, because I remembered after I gave that speech that the audience, nobody was impressed. I was not happy. It was all because of the fact that I didn't prepare. Okay, so I still remember that. Now, when you began the speech, because you said, well, I was afraid to speak, so what you decided to do at the beginning of your speech was to not really give a speech, right? The first thing you said over here was like, hey guys, oh, by the way, my title is different now, this and that. That's not really part of your speech. And the beginning of a speech is actually one of the most important parts of your speech, believe it or not. The first few words that you say, the first glimpses and the eye contact that you make is when you actually capture the audience's attention. So don't waste that, okay? Number 2, not memorizing your speech. So you said you didn't want to memorize your speech because you wanted to make it feel natural and kind of thing. So what did you do? Not memorize it, but instead you sat here reading it, right? So I don't recommend that, because reading it, you were looking down most of the time, you're not making a connection with the audience. So if you wanted to make it a 7-minute table topic, that would probably be even better than just sitting there and reading a speech, okay? Number 3 is you had the fear to stand out in front of the audience. So what did you do? You sat down behind a podium instead of standing in front of an audience. Standing up in front of somebody versus sitting down and hiding behind somebody is also engagement with the audience and connection. So when you have a barrier, even with your arms you can have a barrier between you and the audience. You have to make sure that if you want to connect with the audience, there ought to be nothing between you guys, and you could close in the distance. Our President Jia Lun said it takes time and preparation to make connection. So it actually will, you should have probably spend the time to do that. Through your journey to Toastmasters, it's important that you do the basics. A lot of what you think, oh, this looks pretty good, is probably something you ought to do. Thank you. Journalists, you got it.